Now that I've positioned my model and oriented it properly, the next step is to tell it the material and the nozzle size. So I'm going to click here. The nozzle size is only changeable if I've bought a new nozzle. This is the default nozzle that the printer comes with, so I'm going to leave it at the 0.4 millimeter nozzle. And for the material, I'm going to choose generic PLA. The next step is to choose my print quality. Here is a quick look at the default settings, and if I click on it, it will open up. So the first thing I want to do is go to the quality. The finer the slice height or the print layer, the longer the print will take. The thicker the slice height, the less the quality. For this particular part, I'm going to leave it at the dynamic quality of 0.16 mil for each layer. And here we can see that the layer height is linked to the quality. Next, we want to look at the part itself, so we have settings for the shell. If we click on the gear icon, it'll open up the preferences as if I clicked here. For now, I'm going to close this. We'll come back to that in a later video. So the default setting is to have the wall thickness to be 1.2 millimeters. And you'll notice by now, if you hover over any of these, it'll describe what each setting does. So for the wall to be 1.2 millimeters thick, it's going to add 3 lines touching each other back and forth. And I can change this, and I can change all of these settings. So the top and bottom currently are set to be 0.84 millimeters thick before it switches to the infill style. So here we have the top and bottom, and we can give a separate top thickness, and there's also going to be 6 layers at the top. So as I scroll down, the next thing we want to look is the infill. Because this is being made for kindergarten kids, I want it to be fairly strong and take a lot of abuse. So I'm going to change the infill percent to at least 60. And then the infill pattern, we have all these options. I'm just going to leave it with the default of lines. Next, I can set some material choices. So it's already seen for PLA, the printing temperature should be 200 and the build tray should be heated up to 50. It will have set the default speed, what's recommended for the best print. I can always override this. This default option will retract the filament when traveling over areas that do not require printing. And the Z hop is not enabled. As far as cooling goes, I've told it to turn on the cooling fan at a speed of 100%. I can speed it up or I can slow it down. And here's the option where I can tell it to figure out the support. I don't want support for this, so I'm not going to enable the support. I'm going to scroll down again, and what about the build plate? So I'll expand this, and I'll scroll down. First, with this style of printer, a glue stick is often used to help the base layer adhere to the plate. But what it's asking here is how would you like it to lay down material around the part, a really thin layer. So we have several options here. We have a skirt, a brim, raft, or none. If I expand the dual extrusion and scroll down a bit more, nothing will happen because it knows my printer only has one extruder. So I've set up all of the settings as I think I would like them. The next thing I'm going to tell it to do is to slice the part. And it'll take a minute to process it. And what I see here is this build will take 4 hours and 26 minutes. It'll use 28 grams of material. And if I hover over here, we can see how much time it's spent on the various areas of it. The next thing we want to do is actually have it estimate the cost of the material. In the next video, we'll look at how to set it up so it can estimate the material cost and go through some of the printer settings.